Hey guys, welcome back to DMAC Customs. If you watched the last video, as promised, I was going to have a look at fitting up this Tanks Incorporated 51 Fleetline petrol tank. Might have a look at the fuel pump and stuff as well. Thought I'd put a bit of a drop sheet down to protect it while I protect this tank. Anyway, so as the intro led you to believe, I've got this petrol tank for the 51 Fleetline Area 51 project. So I wanted to fit it up, make sure it all fits before I kind of get too carried away finishing up the boot floor and all that kind of stuff. Got to make some way of figuring out how to kind of connect it to the fuel filler, and I thought I might sort of fit the fuel pump and the sender and stuff in, just to dial that sort of in, and then it gets them off the shelf and into the tank. So let's have a look. Some bits. What do we got? Got some made in Taiwan gaskets and screws. A little blank off plate, so I think if you're not going to use the fuel pump, you can just blank that off if you're using a mechanical pump. Some fuel line PVC EEC half-inch 12.5mm 35 psi 2.4 bar made in, don't know, that bit's cut off. I think that's just your little breather pipe. Filler hose, I imagine. And straps. See how that works, because on the 51 I've got bolts at both ends. I wonder if I'm supposed to kind of cut and drill these or something to length. I'm not too sure. 1.6mm strap. I'll just put that over there. There's the tank. Not a bad looking unit. I think I got the deeper one, the higher, slightly higher volume one. Can't remember why. I might actually be kicking myself now because it might end up have made it too deep to lay out, but it might be alright. We'll see. So it takes a 6-bolt fuel pump, 5-bolt sender unit. Pretty standard sort of stuff, I think. But yeah, she looks like a pretty good unit. It's got some baffles in there. Looks like a baking tray for making loaves of bread. Oh, the gaskets in there. Must be holes in it. You can see right inside the centre under where the fuel pump goes, there's like a bread. Looks like a baking tray for making little loaves of bread, and then there's a hose or a pipe that kind of comes out the side of that and disappears off over there somewhere, but not sure how that works, but where the pipe goes is over here, nowhere near the return line or anything, but the return line's on the pump anyway, so go figure. Okay, so that's that. I'll keep that box because I'll probably take the tank back out again later on. Summit Racing LS fuel filter built-in regulator. alien fittings. Waited months and months for those fittings, but wasn't really in any hurry anyway. There's the actual pump. I think these are a Walbro pump. Good name by all accounts. Never used one before, so don't really know a whole lot about them, but seem to be a common name you hear on the forums and stuff like that. Got a little sock for the end of it. Some zip ties. Gotta have zip ties. Some bits of paper. Detailed instructions on how to set your depth and everything, I guess, and attach the pump to the filter to the family bob. So must have got one in, one out, and what the hell are those things? And then your return line. So I don't know what these are. I'm going to have to do some reading and try and figure that out. But, okay, did some instruction reading. Didn't want you to witness that because I might lose my man card. But anyway, didn't even think about it. These little jam nuts are for the wires to come back out through there. So you poke the wires up through there and then tighten them up once you've got them to where you want them to be. So got to do some measuring, as the instructions say. Measure the depth of the tank, and then pump plus sock minus that from the depth of the tank, and that gives you your cut for there. And then your return liner, looking at the picture, you just cut that off roughly lower down there or something. But yeah, so start off with a measuring device. I might even get a pen. Got a measuring device. Okay, it's 210 millimeters, or 8 and something or other fraction of inches. I want to work in millimeters. Okay, the next step, I guess, is figure out how to get the sock on. Okay, the next step is how to figure out how to get this red thing off. Just get a screwdriver, force it. Gently, oh there we go. Look at that, so it's got a little mesh filter inside the pump as well. That's good to know that there's lots of filterage, so you don't clog up your injectors. So, looking like this just kind of pushes on, but as to which direction I'm not 100% sure. Looking at the picture, there's the things, so we'll just stick it on like that, I reckon. Maybe not. Oh, there we go. Is that far enough, do you think? I don't know. Okay, so now measure this. Now, where do you measure to and from? I guess you measure to there, wherever that's going to come down to. And there, so I'll measure to there, so to allow the hose to come down over that thing, I reckon. You reckon? Okay. So it's 110. So 110 from 210 is 100. So we want to just do a little experiment. I imagine you'd want a little bit of, you wouldn't want that sitting flat on the thing, maybe a couple of millimeters clearance, I guess. Now, instructions say something about using a heat gun to soften this up, so it'll slide onto the better. Okay, so I should probably start with the heat gun, heat this up. I'll just get past you there for a minute. Okay, so am I ready for this? I think so. Heated. Hang on. I forgot to put the little sock on. I might be able to get it over there. Dang it. I might not be able to get that over there. Worst case scenario, I've got another piece that I can use if this doesn't work. Okay, let's try that again. Put the little sock on before you put the pump onto the thing. I don't know what this is for, but it's probably something to do with, I don't know, making it easier to fit on or whatever. Probably put that on before you put that sock on, I reckon, because I feel like I'm going to break that. But I'll try and be gentle anyway. Alright, so kind of push it round so it's up against there, and then we can tighten the clamps. Still quite warm. These are fancy zip ties. Before I get carried away. Have a look. Yeah, that's all good. The only thing is, I probably want that. That's the back, so it's going to come that way. So I'm probably going to want that sock facing that way. So if I've got my This is the back of the tank, so I have my send, return, breather. Inside there, that little cake tin thing goes long ways that way. So, yeah, socks pointing in the right direction. Good to know. Good. Come closer. So that's my pump assembly lengthened, shortened, and assembled. So probably just imagine trim these zip ties off, but just like that. And the wires, so that plugs in somehow. Oh, doesn't fit, force it. Still doesn't fit, use a hammer. Nice and tight, so I might pull these back through in between. And then they poke up through there. And I would say leave a little touch of slack in there just for pump vibration, that if you've got them tight they'll probably want to and fatigue and stuff. And then tighten up these little jam nuts, which will hopefully create a fuel seal. Again, probably wouldn't crank them up tight, maybe just give them a, still moving, so just till they stop moving, and then that should be then sealed according to the papers. Still moving, still moving. Oh, move the earth. So that is the assembled pump. It's pretty straightforward, really. Never run your pump dry. Connections are 1/4 inch NTP. Got some of those. Got a fuel line kit off the old interweb. For a better seal, use Permatex part number blah blah blah. Gaskets when installing tanks and hardware. Torque to 1/2 foot-pound. Alright. Well, I reckon. What's that for? Oh, that's the sender one. I'm not going to use any sealant on it yet because it may come out again. So for now, we'll just use the gasket and torque it down. Probably should have put this gasket on. Should probably do the whole thing and put the sock on last, but I'll put the sock on first to measure it. But I will check that the other hose clamps are snug, since I didn't put those on. Yep, they're good. Just check mines. Good enough. Okay. Managed to even get the gasket to line up first shot. How's that? Cool thing about this pump is the return and the sender are all marked on the outside too, so if you forget what you're doing, which way you set it up, and you forgot to mark them yourself, which I did. I was going to, and then I saw these on here and decided not to, and then actually forgot about it anyway. So coolness. Says to torque them down to, where do I see that? Half a foot-pound. So I've got a torque wrench that can do that. Let's have a look. Now my torque wrench doesn't actually go to half a foot-pound, this little one. I reckon we're good with that. I don't want to crank them too hard. Half a foot-pound is like, it's just like not much, really. Need to keep those papers just in case I need to. What do we got next? Fuel sender. This is a generic aftermarket fuel sender, which I'm hoping will fit. What's that? It's cardboard. Little box. Oh, actually get a gauge with it too. I don't actually need a gauge, but that's good to know. Didn't know that. That's actually really good value. That was like $50 or something like that. So I will keep that for future. Chances are I'll probably need a fuel gauge at some point, maybe. Anyway, paperwork for this one. I don't think I need all those. Actually, I'll probably check that this is even going to work. Whoa, the holes are, the alignment's slightly different. Not by much. I might see if I can actually get it to thread in before I yeah, the gasket that came with it is just out as well, whereas the gasket that came with the tank's ink is just out as well. That's weird. How peculiar. Well, I'll try and get a few screws started in it and just make sure it is going to screw down before I go too far. There's no way that this is all going. No way. Have a look at this. Right. I don't know if you can see in there. Got two screws started, or two bolts started. These two are going to land quite a way out. So show you. This is the gasket that came with the tank. Is there a locator? No, it's just line that sucker up. As you can, I don't know if you can see, it's a bit hard to see. I'll flip it over and you can see the holes line up anyway. You can see line up those two holes. The other three don't line up. Line up kind of those four, and that one doesn't line up. I wonder if there's top and a bottom, a directional thing. There's some little marks on that. Oh, look at that. Yeah, there's a learning curve for you. There is a, they are not on a true sort of thing, so I think there's only one way that this can actually go, and that must be like that. Okay, false alarm, don't worry, just forget I said anything. Anyway. Okay, so this little instructions have a bit of measuring and that and stuff as well, so it gives me this chart on tank depth versus sender depth versus rod length ratios and stuff. So I've got a tank depth of 6.5 inches, depending on where you look at it, which means the length A, which is the rod length, should be set at 3 11/16, and the depth of the sender should be 3 1/8. So yeah, fractions. I get it, but it's kind of weird. It's easier for me to picture millimeters in my head. I still do think in some foot and inch type formulas, but when it gets down to like the 11/16 and stuff like that, it's kind of like 11/16 is like, I don't know, 14 mil. Why don't you just say 14 mil? It's like, I don't know. Anyway, got your way, I got mine. Yeah, so I'll do some measuring and some adjusting, and then we'll set this sender unit up. So pretty much got this sort of adjusted up. Took heaps of this sending unit out, but that's what the chart said. So I'm assuming it's because, you know, we've got that much sort of depth from the top of the sender to the bottom of the tank. So that little rod is still going to go on there. So that gives you that ohm range from 30 to 240 ohms from full to empty. That's the ohm range from like 0 to thing, or whichever way it goes, I can't remember, but 30 to 240 ohms this sender unit is. And make sure that's nice and tight. So that's my, according to the chart, for my depth, I've got a 6.5 inch depth. The rod needs to be 3 11/16, and for those who don't know, 11/16 is 17.5 millimeters. I asked Uncle Google. And then the depth from there to the centre of the pivot needs to be 3 1/8, and 1/8 is 3 millimeters, so it's 3 inches and 3 millimeters, which is pretty much 80 millimeters. So that's me there. Get rid of my ruler, don't recommend that anymore. I've marked this little doodad to give me my where is the mark gone? There it is. So I just have to feed it through this little hole onto my mark. Oh, of course it's a flathead grub screw, old school flathead grub screw. So just make sure it's on my mark. Oh, hang on, is that right? No, that'll be too long. So from there to the centre of the pivot of the float, length A should be 3 11/16. So I've actually made it too long. So what did I say that was? It should be about 90 mil. So that's actually still way too long. I measured it from there, that distance, which is actually too long. So I need to still cut quite a bit out of this. 3 inches is 76, 77. I'll just chop another chunk off of there. Oh, unlocked my car. Lock that up. No, I should leave it unlocked, then someone might steal it. It's a heap of shit. Right, back again, back to this. I've just got to ring a friend. Okay, we want about 93 millimeters, which is a little bit short now, but that's right. I've left plenty there for trim. Right there. Might mark that. This looks all very little and stuff. I might put an ohm meter on it and that'd be about right. There's a little pickup on the tank down here that kind of puts, so if that's like way foot right on empty, it's right up on full. Oh. Anyway, just got to trim a little bit back off of here, just a wee bit. It's like being in a western. And that, my friends, is that ready to go. I was going to chuck a voltmeter on there, a multimeter, and just measure the ohm reading on there. It's 246 there. Comes down to when it's up full. Reading 42 at its high, 46 is as high as it can go. 244, 40. Doesn't quite read what this paperwork says it should read, but hopefully that won't be an issue with my new vintage gauges that I have for this thing. This wire just wants to get up in there and get involved, but I don't want it to. So what I might do, try and get this to just get on down there. Okay, try again. Now, muddled up my gasket. There it is. The fact that this doesn't go down to half a foot-pound means that I'm just using it for appearances only. And well, yeah. That's those in. Before I go start trying to put it in up under the car, I'm going to block off these holes, block off these for now, just to make sure I don't, because the car's got grinding dust and all sorts of crap all over it, make sure that I don't get any unwanted debris into the petrol tank. Not sure what I'll block them off with, probably just yellow masking tape like I have with everything else. Okay, let's do that. Where is my yellow masking tape? Hey, so this morning I was actually cleaning up parts and organising some stuff for this car because I couldn't really remember what all I had and what I didn't have, but I did find one of these. Now this is one of the original gas tank straps, and I was just about to launch into just cutting and making the two of them the same size, and then I luckily remembered that I had got the bigger tank, as I said earlier. So what I've got to do is now I've got to calculate how much longer I need these to be. So there's a couple of ways I can do that. Lay the old one over the top of the tank because the dimensions are the same, it's just deeper, and then measure off from there to there. from off the mounting points, and then cut, drill, fold these straps, and which is I think what I'm going to do. Could try laying a tape measure or something over there, but tape measures tend to sort of kink and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do is take this one over to the tank, which is now under the car on the floor, and lay this over it, measure it to the floor where it's sitting, and that'll give me an approximate. The mounting things, if you've ever seen one of these before, I've got one sort of fixed end, and then one that kind of you've got a bit of thread to wind up and kind of pull it tight, you know. So that's what I'll do. So I'll grab tape measure. I'll come and have a look. Anyway. Okay, so back under the, I think you probably figured that. But anyway, here's the strap laying over the top, and as you can see there, I've got a couple inches there, and at this end a couple inches as well. So I'll measure that more accurately than just saying a couple of inches, and then I'll add that on to my total length of my folded thing. As I was saying, this is the front mount, which is kind of like your fixed end, and then your back mount is like your can wind it up end. Hopefully you can see this, it's pretty dark under here. I should turn that light on again. That's why I over there. And yeah, so, and nicely I think they folded up this thing here right in the middle. I didn't fold it where it needs to be folded, but so I've got to straighten all that out first and take some measurements and figure that out. So you go sit over there, I'll get my tape of measuring. So if I add, I've got this on back to front, so I might just double check all this before doesn't really make a lot of difference, I don't think. No, it's the same measurement. Oh, that's cool. Right, okay, well, we'll take all these bits and yeah, and what I might do is just cut it a bit over length, might not fold it and trim it and drill it and stuff until I've got this sitting up in place, and then I can get a better idea from there. This is the one time where garage carpet's a good idea when you've got something new and you're going to lay it on there. The rest of the time garage carpet is really stupid. But anyway, let's go. Oh, thought I'd go ahead and make up one side, just so I didn't embarrass myself if I got it wrong, but I think I got it right. Maybe a little bit oversized, a little bit long, which I'm not too concerned about, because I might, like I said, put or I will be putting like a rubber isolator up again between the tank and the underside of the boot floor. So I've got to set about replicating it now. So what I did was straightened out these straps. Fortunately they're pretty pliable actually, they're quite a soft material, zinc plated of some sort. And then I wanted this side 70mm longer than that. Came down, this one I'd actually measured at 50, but I decided to shorten it up just a little bit because I had a bad feeling about 50, and so I've done the double fold, but I'll show you that in a minute. So we'll endeavour to make another one the same as this now, and yeah, and then we'll have two. So that's those two straps made. Now we'll go and endeavour to put them on, and yeah, like I say, hopefully they're not too oversized, but if they are, I'm pretty keen on putting like a a rubber isolator around the strap area and that anyway, so but this will get me into my fitment range of where I want the tank to be, and then I can suss out the rest of the exhaust, suss out the fuel filler, vents and that stuff. So let's go have a look. Okay, so I had, for the first time in a long time, a little bit of forethought, and I got under here and squirted a little bit of loose juice on these nuts that have been sitting there like that for a long time, and so they actually come undone really nice and easy. But that's where the forethought ended, because I should have taken them off before I jacked the tank up here. By the way, this is a motorcycle jack. It's real handy. I don't have a motorcycle anymore, but it has been real handy for building car stuff. It's good for supporting transmissions. It's rated at I don't know, and I find it quite a handy piece of kit to have. I was thinking, what am I going to do with this? Oh, smack my head. Which way around do I make these? Some folk would go and get their rattle gun and just this thing down, but not me, because those things are really noisy. Now let's have a look at this filler area. That's what I've been the most curious about. What the hell? Well, I got this tank in back to front. How on God's green earth is one supposed to get the filler hose? Oh no, the chassis is really thin there, so that just will come in over there and shoot up through the hole in the floor and up to the filler. It was me thinking I was in back front, but good stuff. Right, and I reckon we'll be able to get the exhaust will come down through here, go up over the top of the axle tube, and we have plenty of room back here behind the tank, behind here, so we can come down right through the middle. Have the muffler will be sitting about here. We'll do a big U-bend, come up and over, so we can clear all of the that's a dirty suspension stuff and shockolators and things like that. That's all going to be trimmed up yet, and I'm going to put a another brace in across there too, because it's got a little bit of flex in there, but I haven't got the material for that yet. And so yeah, then the exhaust could probably come around here and then down straight out the back there, but provided it doesn't hang down too low. I don't know actually. I suppose we should have a look at that. Just get out under here. Might have to get my measure of it takes. Oh, sweet. Okay, so it does peak down a little bit lower there, but I'm not going to be laying these quarters on the ground anyway, because I don't want to bend them. So after that, I'll be setting up the bump stops to kind of accommodate my kind of absolute laid out sort of scrub line sort of thing. We have to do that for legal reasons here in New Zealand, to get these things legal. Last time I suited a bad vehicle, the rule was you had to there's a formula to get your scrub height. So your minimum scrub height is so you can still, like if you have a complete air ride airbag failure, a system with no air whatsoever, you can still move and steer. So you need to be able to get off the road basically without dragging petrol tanks and chassis rails and stuff like that, which I intend to do, because I don't want to set up a car that if I did have a failure in it, I'm stranded, absolutely stranded in the middle of a road or an intersection or whatever. I actually want to be able to move this thing out of harm's way if need be. So although that tank does hang down a little bit lower than the other tank for these things, I think we'll be alright. I'll get a better idea when I get it back down on the ground and check all that out properly. Until then, I need to make a list for exhaust stuff and then work out my fuel filler thing. Hey, right, well, that's it for this little video. Oh my god, the traffic on the street today, this evening, is just out the gate. I should shut the door, but I didn't. So, I'll carry on. Anyway, so little video on the gas tank from Tanks Incorporated in America. One of their fuel pumps too. Yeah, a Walbro pump and whatnot. Walbro, I think that's how it's said. Their pump, their tank, fitment really good, build quality looks really good, as long as the pump works as described. Pretty happy with that little install for the fuel sender. I've just got to keep all the paperwork so I can dial in the gauges to match that, so I don't spend ages wondering why I've got no gas or too much gas or whatever. But yeah, they've got that from Burns Co Marine. Yeah, Burns Co Marine in Tauranga or Mount Maunganui. Find them really good for small auto electrical components, wire, plugs, clips, gauges, big cable for battery cable and stuff. And they're open Sundays, so it's always good. So much. What are they doing? Just driving up and down the street, just annoy me or what? But anyway, so yeah, so I've got a bit of an idea of how I want to run the exhaust system now. Now I'll be able to start making a plan as to what I'm going to do with the fuel filler and the breather pipes and stuff. If you've got any suggestions with that, I'm not really sure which way I'm going to go yet, whether I'm going to run a breather off the bottom of the tank, which is next to the filler, or whether I run cap that and just run the one off the top of the pump. Don't know which is the better way to go. Do I do both? You know, I don't know, like for filling up and for driving and stuff. Yeah, if you got any ideas on that, down in the comments down below, that'd be pretty spot on. If you actually watch this within the next wee while, because there will come a point where you might watch this and be finished this car and on another one. But anyway, comment down below. I might be finished this car and having heaps of problems with the fuel system, and it could be you who helps me fix it. But yeah, so get onto that, get some comments down there. Anything helpful. Hit the old subscribe button, just gently though, just tap it. Notifications bell possibly on your screen somewhere, depending on what you're looking at it on. And yeah, like, comment, share. Till then, till next time, we'll just take it easy and good to your neighbours. Peace. Right. This thing rush hour. Oh my god. Ah. Come on. And chain store. Should have shut the doors.